So, who gets to decide what development looks like? We're exploring the debate around how the Caribbean is portrayed in the digital age, from viral clips to cultural misconceptions. Our guest today is calling out the quote poverty lens and asking us to embrace our culture and innovation and survival. Joining us is Dominican musician, author, and filmmaker Jade Leatham. Good morning, Jade, and welcome.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so because I know that you are from another Creole-speaking country, Dominica, I'm from St. Lucia, Sakafet.
Sakafet, muela.
I just asked her how is she doing, and she said she's great. So, what was growing up in Dominica like before we get to the heavy stuff?
Right now, looking back, all I can say is freedom. It was really beautiful. It was going home to sunsets, and it was waking up to roosters crowing and going to church by the river and having cows chasing you and eating guava until your stomach hurting you and stealing mango from the neighbor. Like, it was a lot of community and creating bases in the river every summertime and stealing a pound of flour to cook food by the river. It was something that you can't recreate in many places in the world, and I really cherish it.
All right, so just so our listeners know, Jade now lives in the United States. But Jade, you are a filmmaker, a musician, and an author. Did your upbringing have any influence in that career path that you've chosen?
It has, to be honest. There's a quote saying that Caribbean reality resembles the wildest imagination. And I think every Caribbean person, if you migrate, you realize just how fantastical the way we live is every day. And the things you see on a daily basis, you don't see that everywhere else in the world. So I think what started me on my path was choosing to forego university in the United States and choose to go to UE in Jamaica, actually, and seeing how Jamaica really pours into their entertainment sector and seeing young people who are so passionate about their craft, it really made me feel like, oh, this is the things that I'm passionate about. This is what I can do this. I can spend my life doing this. So definitely, if I went to school, if I grew up in the United States, I don't think I would have done what I'm doing now.
Okay, so talk to us now about the type of music that you do.
So, again, my music really started in Jamaica with University of the West Indies Pop Society. Shout out Pop Society. And then when I went home, I started doing fusion music. I'm very interested in using the natural rhythms that we have, like bele, quadrille, lapukabuit, into pop sounds. And you see some of that in my film as well. So right now I'm like scoring my film. So that's where I am, fusion, using traditional and the modern.
And it's interesting that you bring up your film. I'm sure our viewers are curious about, that particular project that you're working on.
Yeah, it's called Rebel and Django Act 1. I'm very multi-hyphenated on this. As you can see, I'm playing Rebel, and my co-star Isaac Ramirez plays Django, and we play orphans of revolutionaries or people who tried the Canefield uprisings. Their parents were executed, and they've decided to take on the mantle from their parents, and we meet them at that point where she's more the strategic person. He's more like the Robin Hood, robbing the rich to take care of the poor. And we see how that can clash and interfere with their own love life as well.
Oh, wow. So we hear about the music and the film. Talk to us about the book.
Oh, you mean this one?
Yes.
So this novel of mine is called Mirror Mirror. It's the first in a 3-part series called the Mirror series. Again, it's about reclaiming Caribbean narratives. I write for the Caribbean person. The way we love, the way we function is not the flattened narratives we get in books and in movies. And I wanted to tell our stories in our voice, with our language. So there's like Spanish slang in there from Honduras, there's Creole, there's Dominican parlance in there, but it's all like showing a story of how we function in romance and in life, because the way we love in the Caribbean is not the damsel in distress and the man who comes. That's not Caribbean women. We are very rambunctious. We are soft. We are tender, but we also good for ourselves. And our men have a lot of charisma and like personality, and nobody has to shrink themselves. And I wanted to write stories like that.
Oh, that's actually quite interesting, because I grew up at a time where you had the Mills and Boons, and you are definitely correct. That is not the average Caribbean woman.
Couldn't relate.
Okay, now I just want to go back to a point that we would have spoken about earlier, that narrative of poverty, and that you get mainly from the international lens. Why do you think they zoom in on that more and less on what makes us great?
There's a saying, he who has eyes, let him see. And I think it has to do with their vision. It's very limited. Their idea of what is riches is limited to what they can afford. They can't afford, or they've never had the luxury of growing up with sunsets, of growing up with these majestic views and these mountains. And when you come to the Caribbean, you experience something, a freedom that you've never had before. And I do feel like subconsciously it makes them feel inferior. And the only way to self-correct that is to point out the things that aren't them. So if your idea of riches is just material and beige houses, squared, structures and high-speed rails, you don't understand the luxury of a horseback ride. You don't understand the luxury of a belle maché. You don't understand the luxury of going by the river to Hula Meds. You can't see that. You were not raised with that. You don't have the vision to recognize. And so you only talk about what you know. And unfortunately, what you know is very limited.
Yeah, I get that. Jade, how can someone watching this show contact you if they're interested in purchasing your book or viewing your film? Do you have an Instagram handle?
I do. My Instagram is Jade Breves Music, JadeBreevesMuzic, or you can go to my website, creolecollective.com.
All right. That was musician, author, and filmmaker Jade Leatham.